Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the seventh chapter, Glimpses of India, Part 1, A Baker from Goa, written by Lucio Rodriguez. In this chapter, we are having three parts. First is A Baker from Goa, second is Kurg, and third is Tea from Assam. In this video, we are going to see about the first part, A Baker from Goa, written by Lucio Rodriguez. A baker from Goa revolves around the relevance of a baker in the Goan culture, which date back to the time when Portuguese ruled over the city of Goa. The Portuguese may have left, but the bread makers continue to have an inevitable stature. In this story, the author recalls his childhood days and their excitement on seeing the baker. They were enthusiastic to the point that they would run to him as soon as they woke up without even brushing their teeth. Let us see the chapter. A baker from Goa. This is a pan portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in the society. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. We still have among us the mixers, the molders, and those who bake their loaves. Those age old time tested furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnaces had not yet been extinguished. The third and the jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo heralding his arrival in the morning can still be heard in some places. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are even today known as pedder in Goa. Here, reminiscing nostalgically, thinking fondly of the past. Loaves are the plural form of loaf, that is bread. Vanished means disappear suddenly. Molders, a person who molds dough into a shape. Furnaces, an enclosed structure in which materials can be heated to very high temperatures. Extinguished, that is cause a fire to cease. Heralding, announcing, and pedder is a word for baker in Portuguese language. The story takes us back to the time when Portuguese ruled Goa. They were immensely famous for their breeds. The narrator often finds his elders thinking about those good old days and telling them that the famous breeds date back to the time when Portuguese ruled over Goa. They ponder over the past and tell them that though the Portuguese have left Goa, but the bakers of bread still exist. If not the original ones, their legacy is being continued by their sons. The bakers are still being referred to as bedders. That is a Portuguese word for the baker. Everything about baking is still the same, ranging from those who mold the bread loaves to the furnaces which have survived the ravages of time. The sound of their arrival and the thud of their bamboo stick can still be heard just like the olden times. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion, and guide. He used to come at least twice a day, once when he set out in the morning on his selling round, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep, and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of the loaf? Not at all. The loaves were brought by some Pasquine or Bastine, the maidservant of the house. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. Your companion is a person with whom one spends a lot of time. Jingling is a make cause or to make a light metallic ringing sound. Here the narrator recalls that the baker acted as their friend and companion during their childhood. The baker used to visit twice a day, once while he was on the round to sell his loaves, and the other time while returning back with his empty basket. Having sold all the loaves, it was the sound of his bamboo stick that woke the children up. The children were so excited to meet him and choose from the bread bangles. he made especially for them, while the bangles were of children and loaves were for the adults that were generally collected by the maidservant of the household. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with his chang chang sound of his specially made bamboo staff. One hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. But we would not give up. We would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket. Somehow I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. Loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. And why should we? Why should we who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. Hot tea could wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. Here staff means stick, rebuke means an expression of disapproval, a scolding. Fragrance, a pleasant sweet smell. Parapet is a railing, a low protective wall. Bangle here refers to the braid in the shape of a bangle called kankul. The baker often made a musical entry. His one hand supported his basket on his head while the other banged the bamboo on the ground. He would go house to house and greet the ladies before handing them over the loaves. The parents would scold the children and make them stand aside, but as eager as they were, they would climb a bench or the wall to peep into the basket. They did not even bother to brush their teeth before having those braid mangoes because it seemed unnecessary effort for them to pluck mango leaves from the branches to use them for brushing the teeth. They considered brushing unnecessary because the hot tea could effortlessly wash their mouth, and they thought that animals like tiger never brushed their teeth. Marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread known as the bowl, just as a party or a feast loses its charm without bread. Not enough can be said to show how important a baker can be for a village. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. Cakes and bulinhas are must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Thus, the presence of the baker's furnace in the village is absolutely essential. Here first is a large mill, typically a celebratory one. Bulinhas is another name for coconut cookies. Bread is an important part of the Goan culture and it is evident from its presence at every important occasions. From sweetbreads at marriages to sandwiches at engagement parties and cakes and coconut cookies at Christmas as well as the other occasions makes the presence of a baker in every village very essential. The baker or bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as kabai. It was a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and a trousers which were shorter than full length ones and longer than half pants. Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a pedder. So bakers were known to have worn unique knee-length frock dresses typically known as kabai. In the narrator's childhood days, he had seen them wearing shirts and pants whose length was shorter than the usual ones. It was a part of their identity so much so that even if someone wears the trousers length now, he is said to have dressed like a baker or a pedder as was said in olden days. The baker usually collected his bills at the end of the month. Monthly accounts used to be recorded on some wall in pencil. Baking was indeed a profitable profession in the olden days. The baker and his family never starved. He, his family, and his servants always looked happy and prosperous. Their plump physique was an open testimony to this. Even today, any person with a jackfruit like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. Plump physique, pleasantly flat body, open testimonies, public statement about a character or a quality. The baker had a way of making monthly record of bills on a wall using a pencil and then collecting the money at the end of the month. Baking has always been a profitable profession. The baker's family and workers have always been happy and joyous. The baker was usually fat, which was a proof of his richness. Even to this day, someone with a well-built body is compared to a baker. So I hope you have understood this part of the chapter. We'll continue in the next video with the second part. Good. I hope you have understood this. Thank you.